Alrighty, with the new era of Andor, we've had a ton of new kit reveals come our way. Literally a ton. They put them into 2 posts, and I've only covered 3 characters so far. So, I don't know how many there are total, but, you know, for it to be 2 posts, I'd guess there's probably 10. Anyhow, this is coming in as character number 4, and it seems to be the first Empire character that kit reveal that we're getting, so let's just get into it. This is Dedra. I don't know if she's got a last name, it just says Dedra. Dedra is a beloved antagonist from Andor. She represents ambition and tenacity, which drives her to make ruthless decisions that sometimes undermines her allies in the very faction of which she serves. Her magnetic character and striking poise makes her an exciting addition to the holotable. I mean, it's only exciting if her kit matters. You guys make the kit, make it good. If you give her like a basic Tarkin-style kit, then she's not exciting at all. She will fit right into a squad with her fellow ISB allies as a powerful and strategic support unit. Her ISB allies include the pre-existing units, Imperial Probe Droid and Director Krennic, as well as new ISB units, Major Pargaz and KX Security Droid, which is funny because that's just like an actual Empire, what's his name? K2SO. Like, K2SO is supposed to be one of these, but he was reprogrammed to be good. This is a bad one now, so now we have like a good and bad K2SO. I guess he's a KX Security Droid, just like we have a good and bad R2 and 3PO. Anyways. Okay, so they didn't put any gifts. At least they put this thumbnail thing. Well, they didn't for the last one. The last rebel we had. Whatever her name was. But anyways, basic. Effective covert action. Deal physical damage to the target enemy and expose them for 1 turn. If they are already exposed at the start of Dedra's turn, she deals an additional 50% bonus damage and gains Retaliate for 1 turn. Design notes. Exposed is applied again to the target enemy if she triggers a pre-existing exposed buff on her turn. Effective covert action is Dedra's only damage-dealing ability, and her special ability, Do Not Bore Me, will buff the amount of damage this ability does. Using effective cover action also sets up her allies to trigger exposes, which will allow Dedra to gain rank. So she only has 1 attack move. That's pretty lame, I guess. They said she's supposed to be exciting. That ain't too exciting if you only have 1 attack. It's kind of boring. Like I said, Tarkin at least has 2 attacks. He's just weak. Whatever. Inspiration. Dedra carries out her duties of the ISB by pulling strings behind the scenes. She carries out damage to her opponents with a swift order. Special 1. Watch your back. Cooldown 3. Dispel all debuffs on ISB allies, and Dedra gains tenacity up for 2 turns. Call all other ISB allies that are not undermined and the target ally to assist. Then undermine target other ally for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Grant assisting allies offense up for 2 turns, and they recover 15% of their max health at the end of the turn. Okay, so this move, she doesn't do damage. She just gives it. She dispels debuffs and she gains tenacity up for 2 turns. But all other ISB allies that aren't undermined, at least will assist. So if everybody's undermined, this does absolutely nothing for damage. And then it says to undermine the target ally for 2 turns, which can't be blah blah blah. And then grant assisting allies offense up for 2 turns, and they recover 50% of the max health at the end of the turn. So some of that stuff is good, but if everybody, let's say your whole team was undermined, then this does almost nothing. All it does is dispel all debuffs, which is good. But still, like, you really need you need to use this while everybody is not undermined, so that way then you can get all those extra boosts. I'm just being critical of this because, like it said, oh, exciting addition. Well, that's not exciting if your team is lacking and you're contingent on success with your team not having certain debuffs on them, and then they have them, and like this does nothing. Like, that's not exciting. Anyways, undermine. Plus 25 speed, minus 25% critical avoidance and critical chance. Can't gain bonus turn meter. Design notes. Dedra undermines an ally and calls on her ISB allies to assist. This ability is Dedra's most consistent way to inflict undermine, which is integral to Dedra gaining rank from her unique ability, Chain of Command. Inflicting undermine onto targets will increase their speed, so choosing the target that will make the best use of taking more turns is important to making the most of this ability. In addition, it may be better to consistently undermine the highest damage dealing ally so that Dedra can leverage the other units for assists. In the ISB, using this ability to target Krennic or KX will prove to be the most effective. What does it say? In addition, it may be better to undermine the highest damage dealing ally? But this does minus crit damage and stuff. Why would you want to do that? And they can't gain bonus turn meter. You'd want them to have bonus turn meter. Then they can go more often and deal that damage, no? What? I feel like CG's like actively trying to deceive us here for some weird reason. Inspiration. Obsessed with obtaining key information about Axis, Dedra felt herself above the system and took unauthorized steps to achieving her goal, undermining her fellow ISB members in the process. Makes sense, that she was, undermining everybody so she can advance. Hence the whole thing with undermine and all this. Like, that's what I was gleaning. I haven't seen the show yet, which is kind of weird because Andor's been around for a couple years now. Season 1, I'm saying. But, I'll get to it. But anyways, so I don't know anything about her, but that's just what I was assuming based on what that move right there said. Anyways, fuck! Does the target ally assist if they were already undermined? Yes, the target ally will always assist regardless of if they were undermined or not prior to using this ability. Okay. So is that what they were saying? You'd want to target the highest damage dealing ally just for this? Because then that makes sense, okay. Yeah, you'd want your highest ally to assist you on an assist move. At first, I guess I just misread this the first time. Anyhow, Special 2, do not bore me. Cooldown 3. Ooh, what was the cooldown on this one? I didn't pay attention to that. Also 3, okay. Dedra gains 20% crit chance and crit damage, and an additional 20% stacking, max 100%, for each other undermined ISB ally until she uses her basic ability on her turn. If Dedra is rank 2 or above, she gains protection up for 2 turns. If she's rank 3, grant all ISB support allies retribution and speed up for 2 turns. So I'd assume that at rank 3, she also gets that protection up. Because it does say rank 2 or above. And then also at rank 3, all allies get retribution and speed up for 2 turns. Which speed up is good, and retribution, if I'm not mistaken, is like a counterattack, basically. Because that's like the thing that Leia has. Well, not a counterattack. It's an option to attack again, right? Because that's something that Princess Leia has. How she can go 3 times, and then you have the Omicron that does something with retribution. I think it greatly enhances that chance of happening. I don't know. I could be an idiot here. I have a general idea of what retribution does. I'm just not fully 100% on it to be talking about it, so maybe I shouldn't. Anyways, design notes. Dedra gains critical chance and critical damage until she uses her basic ability, Effective Covert Action. The higher her rank is, the more buffs she is able to grant herself and the rest of her ISB allies. Timing this ability before Partagaz or Krennic's assist calls will allow her to utilize the critical chance and damage buffs as much as possible before it expires. Because Dedra will be undermining her allies, granting ISB allies retribution and speed up will allow her allies to deal damage more frequently regardless of their inability to gain turn meter. Inspiration. This ability was inspired by Dedra's ruthless intimidation tactics when interrogating Bix, telling her victim, the worst thing you can do is bore me. That sounds kind of funny. Dedra's intimidation tactics. You're a woman. You ain't that scary. Relax. Like, just being real. Come on. Always the running joke is you get pulled over by a female cop or whatever. It's not as scary as a man. For obvious reasons, called biology. Anyhow, fact. Does the critical chance and damage expire when Dedra uses her basic during assists as well? No. The buffs will only expire when Dedra uses the basic on her turn, so it may be optimal to avoid using her basic ability on her turn and get as many assists in as possible. Yeah, that's kind of obvious. Thanks, CG. Unique 1. Systems either change or die. Zeta and an Omicron. So the last Omicron we had, well, this is the first Empire one, so I guess it doesn't matter. I was going to say the last Omicron we had was in Territory Wars. Let's see if this is as lame, but that was a Rebel fighter, so it's not even the same factions. Who cares? At the start of battle, if all allies are ISB, which I don't see why they wouldn't be, Dedra gains 35% tenacity and 50% turn meter. Okay, that's kind of weird. So she's going to 50% turn meter right away, but then that's it. So that's kind of lame-ish. Like, it sounds cool, but then when you think about it, it's like, This is like a one-time deal. I mean, the 35% tenacity stays, but that turn meter is one-time deal. Whenever other ISB allies trigger expose on an enemy on their turn, Dedra undermines that ISB ally for 1 turn. Additionally, if Dedra is rank 3, whenever an ISB ally uses a special ability against an enemy with expose, they inflict torture on the enemy for 2 turns at the end of the turn. Whenever Dedra undermines an ISB ally, she recovers 10% of her max health and gains overconfident for 2 turns. Whenever an undermined ISB ally takes a turn, she gains 10% turn meter. You know, not to cut off this storyline, but geez, this broad sounds wicked cocky. She's gonna have some bad karma come her way. She likes to undermine everybody. She gets overconfident. Like, this is when you start getting blind and you're making mistakes because, oh yeah, I got this. Nothing's gonna happen. And then boom, something big happens. That's bad. One of the undermined people realize, wait a minute, and now she's over cocky. She's blinded by her own confidence, and then they get her. Like, broad, calm down. Anyways, we'll just start from here. Whenever an undermined ISB ally takes a turn, she gains 10% turn meter. Whenever an ISB ally's undermined debuff expires, they gain overconfident for 2 turns. Jeez, they get it too? Whenever Dedra has overconfident, she is immune to taunt effects. That actually makes sense. For being cocky as hell, you're not going to fall to someone else's taunt because you're just going to think, I'm above you. While in 3v3 Grand Arenas. Okay, so her Omicron is for Grand Arena, which is good, but it's 3v3, which is weird. But okay. At the start of battle, Dedra exposes all enemies for 2 turns and gains 30% max health. Okay. While ISB allies are undermined, they have plus 80% offense and defense. When ISB allies gain undermined, if they are already below 50% health or drop below 50% health, limit once per undermined. What? It's a weird way to phrase that. They gain protection up and tenacity up 20% until they are no longer undermined. Whenever Dedra undermines an ISB ally below 50% health, she gains potency up for 2 turns. Design notes. Dedra's ISB allies should focus their targets on enemies that have been exposed. By triggering exposes, they will become undermined. Dedra will in turn reap benefits from undermining her ISB allies. Overconfident and torture will also amplify ISB's strengths as an offense-heavy squad. Her Omicron starts off the battle with enemies that are already exposed. This will accelerate the process of Dedra applying Undermine. Undermine in 3v3 Grand Arenas is significantly more desirable to her allies. It not only increases the ISB's offensive capabilities, but also acts as a slight safety net that triggers for undermined ISB allies when they fall below 50% health. Inspiration. Systems either change or die. Is a highly memorable quote in Andor when confronted during a meeting of the ISB. Dedra prioritizes her goals and ambitions above all else. If the rigid system does not facilitate the means to get to its goals, in this case, track down the very core of the rising rebel opposition, she deems those systems insufficient and require change. She undermines those who uphold ISB's bureaucracy in support of her own methods. Yeah, because she sounds like a broad. Fact. Highly doubt it, but okay. What does Overconfident do again? Overconfident is a debuff, originally from Fennec Shand. Overconfident, minus 20% defense, plus 50% offense, plus 10% speed, plus 15% evasion. I feel like there should be an equal balance of buffs and debuffs. They only have one debuff here, the minus 20% defense, and then everything else is a buff. But again, like I said, when you're overconfident, you're being cocky, so there should be lots more debuffs, I feel, than just one at least. I don't know. Anyways, what does Torture do again? Take bonus damage equal to 10% of this character's max health when damaged by an attack. Reduce defense by 10%, stacking, max 50% for the rest of the encounter when damaged by an attack. Can't gain bonus turn meter. Unique 2, Chain of Mother Effin' Command. At the start of battle, Dedra gains rank 1. Every time Dedra undermines an ally, she gains a rank. Wow, that's a pretty quick way to promote yourself. I undermined you. Fuck yeah, I'm rank 2 now. Every time Undermine expires from an ally without taking damage, Dedra loses a rank. Oh, gets demoted. But it says if it expires without them taking damage, so I guess if they take damage, then she keeps her rank, right? Whenever Dedra gains rank 2, she gains health steal up for 1 turn. Whenever she gains rank 3, she gains foresight for 2 turns. Plus there's the other stuff from that other ability that we already went over. ISB rank. Abilities gain additional effects based on rank, ranges from 1 to 3. Yes, I just referenced that. Design note. Chain of Command is a shared unique ability among all ISB units. Because Undermine will typically expire after 1 to 2 turns, you want to make sure that Dedra is either constantly undermining her allies and or making sure the targets she undermines is going to be targeted by the enemy. Inspiration. Dedra gains the upper hand by inflicting undermine, but she must do so with caution, lest she finds herself facing the consequences of disobeying the ISB's rigid bureaucracy. Yes, because again, like I keep saying, when you're undermining everyone and being an overconfident little bitch, something bad will happen. Fact. These aren't facts, but sure. Will Dedra gain benefits when she ranks down? No? What? What kind of dumb question is that? No, Dedra will only gain benefits, health steal up, foresight, etc. when she ranks up to that rank. What a dumb question. I know this can't be real. There's no way this is an actual fact, but let's say it was. Who would ask that? At work, when you get demoted, do you get a raise or anything? No. Typically, A, you get demoted, you lose your position, and B, you get a little bit of a pay cut, or depending on what your position was, maybe a big pay cut. You know, it's not like you get demoted and they're like, here you go, we're going to give you an extra week of vacation, we're going to give you, you know, an extra $400 a week in your pay, and we're going to, like, what? Yeah, she gains benefits when ranking down, that makes sense. Obviously, she gains benefits when she ranks up, so she's going to lose those things that she gained when she ranks down, duh. Like, what other abilities, characters utilize rank? I feel like somebody does have this, but this may not yet. Let's see what this says. Dedra's abilities do not bore me, and systems either change or die. Both have callouts to her requiring a specific rank for specific benefits. All other ISB allies will also affect and be affected by rank in various ways. For example, Partagas will allow her to ignore taunt effects when she gains rank 3. This is very effective in focusing down desired enemy targets quickly. Therefore, ranking up and maintaining rank 3 in particular is very important to playing this squad. I don't think this properly answered the question. It could, I mean, it does answer it in a way, but the way I interpreted this was it was saying what other characters or abilities use this. Like, we know Dedra uses this, what others do? And, like, CG's answer was how it works with Dedra and her team. So it's like, okay, you answered it, but I don't think you answered it the right way. Or you didn't answer it fully. Maybe you could have said all this crap and then said, also at this time, no other characters utilize rank. Or, you know, oh, you forgot X character here already has this rank mechanism. I mean, in a way, there is rank already from, like, Mon Mothma's Summon, how that thing gets promoted. I don't think it's rank in the same way as this, but it's a similar-ish idea. Anyways, her unique ability, Systems Either Change or Die, applies Undermine by triggering Expose. Does that also rank her up? Yes, it will! That's also what makes her Omicron, which applies Exposed to all enemies at the start of battle, very strong. Oh, so she starts out at rank 3. I didn't even think of that. She will very quickly be able to rank up to rank 3 in a single turn by also using her special ability, Watch Your Back. Yes, then this broad's like maxed out. So clearly that's it, because now we got this guy next. So that was the kit reveal for our first Empire, or ISB character, in this new era of Andor, Dedra. Apparently, there's no last name or anything, she's just Dedra. And yeah, I guess that's all I got, so thanks for listening to this with me, and until the next one, until that guy that we saw down there, I said see ya.